Hey,
Hi.
Jill, how are you?
I'm driving, so I can't be looking at you.
Wow, where you headed?
To the pharmacy.
Oh no, everybody
It's
okay?
yeah. Chip's just struggling with some blood pressure issues,
Yeah,
and yeah, it's not a good thing.
no, it's not. No.
Um, am I the only one on here with you?
Yeah, Durwood's on, but it takes him a
I
minute.
just joined up.
Oh, okay. I had texted Earl because I was like, I don't know that I can find the link fast enough
Yeah,
before I need to start driving. So glad I did. I did figure it out and find it.
cool.
Good job.
Well,
Thank
somehow
you.
Kirsten said Tom Mills was on about an hour early, so
Oops.
I don't know what meeting he joined, but I'll have to
Huh.
message with him and see.
Hey, Dur.
How are you doing, Jill?
I'm hanging in. We've got you know, always very crazy. I'm just practice. So I can put weight with the boot. And my mom just had back surgery. Chip's having problems with his blood pressure. We're a
Oh, yeah.
disaster. Yeah.
This is just
And
the whole
you know,
year just
trying
needs to be.
to work.
The whole year we need a do-over.
Yeah, we do. What's that called in golf? Golf, a mulligan? Hey, Tom, how are you doing?
Tom, I was about to message you. Jill said she saw you on about an hour ago. So cool.
I think I've joined in.
Yes,
Yeah.
you're here.
Okay.
Good deal.
Welcome.
All this fancy technology. I don't know how to do it.
I just hope that I get the link and I press a button, hope that I go through. I keep my cell phone handy in case I need help.
Yeah, that's what I'm using is my cell phone.
Oh, is it?
Oh, yeah.
I try to log on my computer so I can text with a cell phone if I need help.
Yeah, my children have my computer, so I don't get to use it.
Tom, were you on with us back in the spring when we had a meeting? I think you.
I tried. It was on a Saturday, and
Yeah.
I've been working, and we've been busy, and I had to leave the meeting.
Yeah, you were cooking dinner, I think.
I
Yeah,
was
you were.
actually cooking dinner, and then we had
Yeah.
to go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you were there for a while.
I tried.
Yep.
Cool. I'm glad you joined in.
Well, I've been wanting to join in. It's just been difficult. Saturday I had to work, and most
Yeah.
of the time y'all have been having these meetings, I've had other obligations.
Yeah. Hopefully we can get these planned far enough out. You can get it on your calendar, or we have options for you. Right?
There you go.
So I'm going to run out to my garage real quick. I got to get a water sample. Be right back.
Okay. So,
There's a water sample on my floor if you want one.
oh no.
Yeah, left
You did a water change or something happened?
No, I left the ATO off, and it's in a dark spot. I've got dark plexiglass, so I couldn't see it. And so I was filling it up because I thought it was empty because my salinity was at 37 and my alarm kept going off.
Oh, wow.
And I thought, oh God, I said, it's drained. I said, I can't believe it evaporated in like 3 days. And so I started filling up. It just started pouring over. And I was like, oh, I'd unplugged it by accident.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. The wife
How big is your tank, Tom?
Huh?
How big is your tank?
It's a 90.
90?
Let's see. How do you do this tank? Hey,
At the bottom.
at the bottom. I got to have the wife on here to help me.
It's a team effort, right?
How do you do it? Does that do it?
Ooh,
Yeah, that's got it.
very nice.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. There we go. Everybody. I'm trying to find a way to get a bigger one so that my tangs, when they grow, won't be mad at me. But where it's at in the floor, it's on the upstairs.
Yeah,
That's how much weight my floor will hold.
right. That's a big thing.
Yeah. I mean, I've got a basement. I just don't use it.
Yeah.
That's where the teenager hangs out.
I think a 90 would be perfect if I can talk my wife into it. I've just got a cube right now. We had a 65 that broke in the living room and did some damage, so we're a little leery of it. But I think a 90 would fit in my sunroom perfectly.
A 90 is a good sized tank.
Yeah, 'cause what's it, 4x2x2?
Yes.
Yeah, I've got
What size is
100.
your-
I've got 100-gallon, but it's one of those 6-foot long ones that are 6 feet by 18 by 24. And my sunroom's not that big. And when I tape it off in there, I thought, that would just eat it up, the whole room. So
Yeah, I'd like to have
What's wrong with that?
it's too long.
Right.
The sunroom's, I don't want to go swimming in my sunroom.
Tom, how long have you had a tank?
I've had saltwater tanks since I was 15 years old and I'm 54.
No
Wow.
way.
You are,
I've had fish tanks since I was 8. So I've worked at I don't know if y'all are, is anybody from Lexington?
Kind
Unfortunately.
we're all kind of in Lexington, but
All right. There used to be a pet store in the Lansdowne shops where Drake's is,
yeah.
and it was a really nice fish store. We were the saltwater people down there and the fish people, one
Oh,
of those
yeah.
independently owned places. And I worked there growing up till I was about 22 years old. And
really.
of course, I always had fish. I've had them since.
Yeah.
And
That's a store that got me into freshwater. When I
oh,
in
was it
college.
really?
Yeah, in the that was in the 90s. Yeah, that was in the 90s, early 90s.
Okay. I think I left in 88 or 89. And I started there right around 80, 81, something like that. I don't remember. I was like 15 years old.
Oh, wow.
So Tom, you're probably like me because I was in freshwater back when I was, 16. I'm 45 now. So I remember the old, hang on the back skimmer, the gravel filtration system, all that good stuff.
Oh yeah, I still have a 55 freshwater with angelfish in the living room in there, and I still use the undergravel filter with the power heads on top. Don't use
Hey.
canister because I don't fool them, but still got the old T8 bulbs.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm a fan of those under gravel filters. I mean, I got my first fish tank in 1965,
Woo!
and I was 7. And in 1968, we had some neighbors moved in, and they raised fish for a local pet shop, freshwaters, swordtails, guppies, angelfish, corridors, cats. They were my heroes. And I think I was 12 when I got my dream job. I worked in their basement for $1 a day.
Oh wow!
And did water changes and things like that and bagged orders up and stuff like that. But it was great, That's
It
what I
was.
always dreamed of having, but I never got that. The biggest I got was I had 5 aquariums maybe 10 years ago. I had discus and angelfish. We lived out in the country and our electricity went out and everything. It was out for 12 days during the big ice storm several years ago. And I lost everything. I couldn't keep them warm. So
Oh,
yeah, I swore off a fish, and then 2 years later we moved and I got another tank.
yeah.
It's an addiction, I think.
I
Which
had
is, by the way,
27 tanks. At
These
one
little
time.
things work pretty well.
What
I've
is
got
that? Oh,
Yeah, I've got one I use on my cell phone, but I just put it on my laptop, and it cuts a lot of the blue out.
Yeah, the Orphic.
This is just a little cheap ice cap.
Oh, okay. I got an Orphic. Looks just like that. Looks identical. Probably made by the same people.
Probably. It's got an orange. I don't know what the orange one does, but
The orange one's the only one that works on mine.
really, I
Yeah,
put that
the-
over this one and it kind of, see, you can tell on the wall, it knocks out the blue on the wall behind me.
Yep.
That a little normal, but
Did it come with 4 lenses?
no, just 2. And that's the orange. Now, let me try. Let me put the orange on the little clip. It works great on the cell phone to get pictures. and cut
Now, is
out a lot of the
is
blue.
that made for a cell phone, Brian, or is that
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
can you get that at? I was gonna ask somebody about that.
I got it from Amazon. That's the orange one. It cuts out a lot of the natural light.
I got this one. And it's an Orphic, and it was $20, and it comes with 4 lenses and the same clip that you have.
Okay. Now I've got another lens in here. I don't know. I mean, like a like a, fisheye
Oh.
lens. See there?
Uh-huh. That's the clear lenses.
Yeah. And then I don't know if there's another one in here or not. No, there's not another one in here.
Huh,
Yeah.
that would help, because I would like to learn a little bit more about photography on the aquariums. That was something that Joe was supposed to teach me, and then he went and closed the shop up there right when I retired. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
we-
like,
Wait a second. Wait a second. What?
yeah, they've closed.
Forever?
They're changing directions.
For a
So,
while at least.
yeah. So the shop's closed. They're going to be growing corals out of Mark's basement. I'll probably get some more information. I'm going to make an appointment to go see Mark.
wow.
I've got some issues with a tooth that I think he needs to take care of. So,
Tom, do you
I'll
have
find
your
out.
lens on?
I have the orange lens, which is the 15,000 K lens.
Okay.
And that makes like all of my corals and everything. Of course, my LEDs are off. It's just my 2 Kessels that are on right
Oh,
now.
gotcha.
Yeah, that
Yep.
looks good.
Off
Though.
at 730. But it makes them all pretty bright with this lens.
yeah.
Look
Cool.
at my Sino. But yeah, everything is, even my Disney, of course, that one's a little far away, but all the rest of it, it all looks pretty good with this lens. Anybody want any Jason Fox Zoa?
Which one is that?
That's the big giant head of Zoa right there, the orange one.
Really?
Do you see it?
Yeah.
It's as big as my head.
It looks brown on this side.
Are you going to break it up, or what are you going to do with it?
I got to cull it. Somebody come and get it. And I've got a mushroom that I want to get rid of because I don't like it. It's what they gave me over at Jimmy and Christie's place over on Regency.
Ocean Wonders.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Ocean Wonder.
Ocean. Yeah. Hey
Yeah,
there.
they gave me like some mushrooms and stuff, and I don't like them. I'm trying to get a picture of that thing. There it is. The purple.
That's a leather, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've got 2 of those. I'm always thrilled if anything survives in my tank, which nothing's died here in a long time. So,
Yeah, it's something that I don't really care for, and they gave me when they were closing.
yeah.
She started handing me handfuls of stuff, going, "Here, take this, take this, take this, take this."
Now, are they planning to reopen?
I don't think it's going to happen. I think they're doing the same thing that Joe's going to do. They're
Uh-huh.
looking at buying a farm, and they raise horses, or they raise race horses.
Uh-huh.
So I think they're going to just raise corals and stuff out in their barn or their shop or whatever, and
What's
sell them that way.
The people from Ocean Wonders.
Oh,
Yeah.
So we just don't have anybody anymore. Well, we got Lawrenceburg, but
Yeah.
I've never been in that shop.
You haven't been in? I love his setup.
No, I've
It's
never been
homey.
in there.
Yeah.
There's a
I
guy
guess I'm going to have to drive to Discovery and
Now,
see
I-
what they've got up there.
Where's that at?
There's a guy in Danville. There's a guy in Danville, and I can't think of the name of it right now. He doesn't have a lot of stuff. He's super nice and always willing to order stuff.
I wish I'd known. I was in Danville a couple of weekends ago.
So I heard that MVP was getting out of the SPS stuff.
They need to. I don't mean to be mean, but they do not take care of their animals.
They don't take care of their customers either, I don't think. I've quit going. I drive past that when I eat at Texas Roadhouse, and I'll sit in my car and wait rather than even walk through their store anymore. I'm not too happy with them.
It's just where I get my LRS. It's
Yeah,
with Joe closing down, I don't have any other way to get it. So I don't want to pay the $39 shipping to get a $20 bag of
right.
French food. So
Yeah.
yeah, they're my only option, and that's the only reason I even walk in the place.
Yeah.
I didn't know
Well-
they said that. It's good to know, though.
If we can ever start having in-person meetings again, maybe we'll be able to do a group buy and get
Yeah.
what everybody needs right before a meeting and bring it and distribute it out.
That would be great.
That's
Yeah.
a good idea.
The
Good.
in-person meetings will be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the
That way I can
meantime-
send everybody home with a care package.
So Tom, what area do you live in?
I live on the south side of Lexington off Lansdowne Drive,
Okay.
over where the Signature Club is.
Yep. Uh-huh.
Cellar, do you know where that's at?
Yep.
I'm just down the road from there.
Okay. Cool.
Awesome.
It's good to have Lexington representation again.
Oh, I definitely
Yes.
got Lexington representation. I actually live in the same house that I grew up in, so
Oh,
Wow.
Wow.
yeah.
You don't hear that very often.
No, I
Yeah.
bought the house to take care of my father, and then when he passed, I just kept it, and now I'm raising my family in it.
There you go. That's some history there.
It does. I've still got all the spill marks from my fish tanks when I was a kid. I own them.
That's cool. Very cool.
Who? Okay. So, does anybody use a UV filter?
I do.
You have a sump?
Yes.
How do you run your UV?
I have it. Let's see if I can show it here. So I've got it feeding off of the manifold here.
From your return
Yeah.
pump?
Do what?
From your return pump?
So I've got the return is on its own, and then I've got a manifold on a separate pump that feeds my any kind of canister filtering I do. I've got it feeding my refugium, and I've got it feeding the UV filter.
Okay, all right.
So what it does, so this is all the manifold system here. So it feeds these things. And then there's a line that goes across, and I can move the laptop to show it. Let's see if I can do that. Let's see if I'm still on here.
Are
There we
you using the separate pump that runs the manifold in your fuse center or section or skimmer section of your sump?
I'm pulling, so this section under here. So here's my water mains. This
Right,
part
right.
feeds this, and then the
Right.
back has a filter back there that feeds everything to the manifold system.
Okay,
And then the UV is the big black column
right,
going
right,
up
right.
and down there. So I feed that, and then I dump it back in up top through this whole mechanism.
Okay,
So that just circulates through. So if something happened to my return, this thing will at least pump some water.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then I've also got it set. I don't know if you can see this, and I've never tested it, but so I've got the same type of pumps feeding both systems. So if my main were to fail, I could turn, let's see, how would I do this? I would have to turn my manifold supply off, and then I could divert everything through this system. So I could technically feed the manifold from the return, but I can't feed the return from,
Right,
well, I
right,
could,
right.
but I don't think it would go very well. I wouldn't do that. I purposely have two pumps that are the same so that if in extreme failure, I could just swap them out.
Well, that's
So-
what I had taken. Of course, I've got my return run on its own, and then in my feed section, I run a skimmer
Mhm.
and just a carbon and GFO reactor in there. And what I was trying to do was run an extra pump. I put a Sitchi pump in the feed section and ran it to the UV light, which was external,
Mhm.
and then run it back. It actually drew water from the feed section, and then I ran it back with a hose up to the display. Of course, all this is temporary until I get my bigger tank. So I'm trying to kind of rig it here and there.
Yeah.
But what was happening was every time I would turn that on, at first it didn't do it, but every time I would turn the pump on to the UV, it would drain the return section down. And of course, it would shut everything off because the water would get too low. The apex would just kick it off.
Right.
And I couldn't figure out how and I didn't want to do a loop with a pump in the tank. And I really don't have room on the outside of the tank now because my wife's all mad at everything piled up out here.
Uh-huh.
So mine being the living room. So what I'm trying to do is get water through it and back up to the display
Uh-huh.
by having an extra pump in the sump and not draining my return down.
It show you something. It amazes me what just a small little thing will do to your water flow.
And it was fine for like a month. And then it started slowing everything down and the water started creeping up. And so I got into the weir and cleaned out the drains. And of course that brought the water level back down. But I'm scared to death that I'm going to hook that sucker back up again. And then it's going to drain it down or it's going to cause an overflow in the tank.
Yeah. It's amazing. This little piece here, this little nozzle on the end of my return will change my flow by 70 gallons an hour. It'll reduce
Really?
by
is
70
that?
gallons an hour. It's supposed to be, so it's a piece that goes on the end of lock line, and it's supposed to alternate the flow or cause the flow to kind of spiral and change. So
Kind of like the
supposed to,
sea squirrel used to be.
yeah. So, but the problem is this is a guy 3D printed these things, and 3D printing stretches over time.
Right.
It doesn't hold very well.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if I breathe on it, it pops off. So,
That's good to know because I have a part in my washer that we did finally get the original part in, but Tori 3D printed it. Yeah. And it makes my utility room basically overflow if I don't have it.
and I don't know that, I'm not sure that I don't think the material stretches. It's just with 3D printing, I can fill in it and it's not as round as those block lines are.
Huh.
Just because, it does one line at a time. Yes, it's round, but you fill a lot of flat spaces. So I think that creates voids that allows it to not fit
Yeah.
Okay.
very snug. So, yeah, so this I consider a failure. So,
Well,
but yeah, I mean, it's amazing when those pop off. I've got the flow sensors on in a couple places to let me know, but I can hear my overflow reacting different, and my emergency starts kicking in when just a little bitty change like that happens. So
right.
Wow.
Are you running Apex?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I've got a flow sensor on my return, and then I've got a flow sensor on the UV because in the beginning I wasn't getting enough flow through the UV, and it was heating up too much. So yeah. The specs had said you've got to have a minimum of 120 gallons an hour for it to be effective.
right.
So,
We got 57 watt.
I don't
It's 8
know
o'clock.
what it is, to be honest. Can't remember. I guess it would say on the side of it, wouldn't it?
It might. It looked like by size, it would have been, yours would be like a 57. I've got a 25. And it looks like it's only about 2/3 that size.
Let's see. Whatever it is, it's covered up.
Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, it's not that big a deal. I was just trying to do the math.
It might be a 45 watt.
Okay.
I can look it up. I got it through bulk grease. So, see if I can find it.
I wanted an FMK, but they come in 1/2 inch and inch. And I didn't want that. I wanted 3/4 and 1 inch. The 1/2 inches are okay for my reactors, but I wasn't really worried about my reactors, and everything else is going to be in larger. I'm going to run a 3/4 1 inch tube. I'm going to hard plumb that UV.
So now what I did on my return is a inch and a half. So I put a flow sensor for a 2-inch line in and just converted it up just at that section for the flow sensor and then reduced it back down.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. It's a pain, but it was
Yeah,
a pain
it
to
is.
plumb, but it
Right.
seems to work.
I can pretty much tell what my return pump's doing most of the time.
It was about 3 or 4 months ago. I replumbed my return and converted from. It was when I was doing this whole dual return setup, and I converted from inch to inch and a half.
Oh, wow.
Oh no, well, inch and a half or inch and a quarter. Yeah, I think inch and a half, and it changed my flow from about 800 gallons an hour to 1,200 gallons an hour
Wow.
without any extra effort on the pump.
With what? Just like a coupling or something?
With what?
With some kind of like reducer or coupling or something?
So the pump, I've got the Vector pump,
Yeah.
and I got a newer one, and they changed the fittings on it from an inch to maybe inch and a quarter. Maybe I'm an inch and a quarter. But anyway, so I had to change to match that, and so I just decided to replumb it all and get rid of some 90 degrees and changed them to 45s, and then the bigger size. And with that change, I got 400 more gallons an hour
Oh, wow.
running at the same percentage on my pump.
Oh, that'd be
That's great.
great.
Yeah. And I would suspect if I made another change, I could probably get another 100 gallons an hour out of it. So my problem is I can't pull water through my sump fast enough because the way I have some grommets in it. I need 3 grommets instead of 2. to pull it
Yeah, I've got the
through.
Durso. It doesn't drain fast enough, and it's just
Right.
1 inch.
Yeah.
And it wears me out. I'd like to have much more flow through there.
I'd rather have more and then turn it down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
than not enough. So, but
Okay, well, so let me ask you all, because, I put a new tank in. Some of you all helped bring it into the house. But I still have like a little bit of a water line below the black around the very top. Do you know what I'm talking about?
like
What was
this,
that?
like this, Jill.
I have, yes,
Water line
like that. So like my water line is still below that.
Yeah.
Why is that? What did I do wrong? What can I change? 'Cause I hate it.
I don't think you can, because it's a function of the
The
height
overflow.
of your overflow.
Yeah, that's what my husband said too. He's like,
Yeah.
that's just the way it is. I'm like, oh.
Yeah. I didn't like it either on mine, and unfortunately, the way my overflow is drilled, and I can't change it.
Yeah.
So, now, if
Okay.
is yours drilled through the bottom?
Yeah.
Okay. Now you could change the height of your weir But then, the challenge, I think I read somewhere, Jill, they say it's best to leave like 1.5 inches, because at 1 inch, you get a lot more splashing, and then you have a lot less room for fluctuations.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so I'll stop worrying about it then.
Now, what you could do if you hate it is get you something like a 1/4 inch. They make, if you go to Staples, they make these vinyl sticky lines that you can put on whiteboards to create lines.
Yeah.
And you could probably put that just under your trim if you hate it that much.
Okay, that's something to think about.
Yeah. That way you can peel it off if you don't like it. Or you could paint it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause it's
no,
glass
I'm
and it scrapes off pretty easy. So
Get some tape and acrylic, and there you go.
yeah.
go for it.
Yeah.
Now,
Mask it up
when
and
you're talking
paint.
about dual, were you talking about dual returns a while ago?
Me?
Yeah, you said you replumbed.
Yeah, I basically wanted a way that if one of my two pumps failed, if my main pump fails, I can steal the one from my manifold system, and I can still feed my manifold system from the main return if I turn that valve on. Otherwise, it's turned off and both are fed separate. Now, if my manifold system fails, let's see, did I get that right? Yeah, if my manifold pump fails, I can run both from the main pump. If my main pump fails, then I just need to switch my manifold pump over to my main pump, and I'm only down for maybe, the time it takes to switch those out. And it was a pain to go through it because Ecotech on version 1 to version 2 of the Vector pump, they changed the plumbing threads on them. So they went to a more standard plumbing thread instead of the European plumbing thread. And so I was kind of screwed. So I convinced them to sell me a new front housing for the old pump so that I could make the threads match. And it makes it really easy to swap the pump bodies out and not have to change anything on the plumbing.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. But did that because I actually had a pump one of these almost failed on me. They had a flaw in the first design that on a lot of the pumps would cause part of the propeller system to heat up and melt.
Oh,
So yeah.
lovely.
So I started getting this weird noise and I checked it out and it was in that state, and Ecotech replaced it. I mean, it was 2 years old and they just sent me a new pump body for no charge. And but the problem is I had to wait 4 or 5 days to get it.
Yeah.
And that whole time I was nervous. I was like, what if this thing were to fail? I'm screwed. So I'll never do a system anymore unless I have 2 return pumps that are identical.
Smart. There you go.
I have two C-shape pumps, and basically, yeah, they even if I just have one running, they still do fine. And it was exactly because of that. I just thought, well,
Yeah.
I have redundancy everywhere else. Why not in the return pump?
Right. Yeah.
So
Now in this case, rather than keeping one on a shelf, I decided to use it and feed the manifold system. It's much more pump than the manifold needs, but just turn everything down.
That's
yeah,
why
I have both of them running. So
that's why I wanted to run my UV pump out of the refugium and back into the display.
Mm-hmm.
If the return pump fails, not that it's going to be a lot of water running through there, but I still have that circulation.
Some movement. That's exactly what I did. Yeah.
If I could just figure out how to keep the return from draining down. I'll be in good shape. That's why I need more flow coming down my weir
Yeah,
and my drains.
right.
And I don't know how to do that.
Yeah. This is some really good good talk. This is fun.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah. I've got two topics I want to bring up. I'm probably going to consume 10 or 15 minutes talking about them.
Go for it.
But so have you all seen the new thread stuff I put up about the phosphate?
No.
Chasing
I've
phosphate?
seen some of it.
I'm gonna pull it up and show my screen because it's
Driving you up a wall, I know.
let me find it. Let's see, open topics. Phosphate chase. Now let's see if I can share this out. All right. There we go. You seeing my stuff?
No.
Nope.
There we
Here
go.
it comes.
Yes, there we go.
All right. So maximize that. Pull you all over here. So I've been chasing this phosphate probably for 3 years now, and I think the mistake. I'm pretty sure the mistake was because when I moved, everything in my 90 I tore down. I put all my rock in a one of those gray tote trash cans and put the lid on it, and it sit for 2 years, maybe almost 3.
Oh,
And I didn't think about that at the time, but I pulled it out, and I didn't want to acid dip, and I didn't want to. I didn't do the treatments everybody says to do. Acid dip would probably have been the best. So I took it out of that bin. I power washed it and left it sitting in the driveway in the sun for a week. Now I knew
That's one
I knew I had plenty of time for things to cycle. So I took it out after that. I brought it in, put it in the tank, and let it cycle for almost a year in the tank. I think what happened is that stuff leached a crap load of phosphate. And now I'm starting to think that my sand absorbed it up. Because ever since I've had that horrible diatom problem, I had that crazy weird algae that covered the sand like a blanket, and literally you could take and scrape it and it would peel back like a blanket peels off of a bed. And I finally got rid of that stuff, but ever since you'll see things like here, this, let's see if it'll well, I don't know if you can see this crazy graph. My phosphates every other day, if I don't, I've been putting this basically lanthanum chloride in, and I'm doing like 30 drops every other day. And so I can watch it. When I do the drop, I can get it down from 0.18 to 0.1. But then 2 days later, it would go back up. And if I try to use GFO, GFO will exhaust within a matter of a day, days or a week. And then that starts leaching it back in. I've tried phosphate sponges, and those are really expensive. And suck it out, but it's like it comes right back. So I've really been at my wit's end, and Blue Life had told me that this would be the cheapest method and that I just needed to find my source. Well, I found some source in my RO water because I got lazy over maybe over the summer, maybe before, and wasn't watching my TDS on my RO water. And so TDS had creeped up to 2, which some people say isn't that bad. But I tested the phosphate in my RO water, and it was 0.18. And that's what my tank typically likes to jump back to. So I've got that back to 0. I put all new filters on, but I'm still having the issue where the tank likes to jump back to 0.18, and my coral is dying. I think that phosphate level is just too high. I think I read that anything above 0.1 and you really have trouble growing. The softies are doing okay. Nothing else does. It just goes. So
I'd call out on that one.
yeah,
My phosphates have been really high, like 0.2, 0.3, and
Uh-huh.
I can grow acros like other people can grow zoas.
really.
Oh yeah, yeah. I don't
So
change phosphates
0.18 not
anymore.
too high.
I mean, mine right now are around 0.1 or something like that.
Uh-huh.
But it makes no difference. I mean, at all. I quit chasing phosphates,
Uh-huh.
and it didn't have a problem. I let my tank just stabilize and run the phosphates high, and
Uh-huh.
it just and they adapted.
Now, this might be the other reason why things died off. About 4 months ago, I got a green hair algae outbreak that was horrid.
I
I mean,
did.
it was covering everything, choking
Yep.
everything out.
Yep.
And again, I couldn't get it under control. I hate to use chemical, but I had to do something.
The
So
flux.
I used this Flux RX from Blue Life.
That
It
stuff's
took
great.
care of it, but I think I might have left it in the water column too long.
Oh.
I mean, we're talking maybe 6 weeks that I left it in the water column without stripping it out with carbon. That might have done it. But my recent thing, so I have stripped the flux out. Phosphates are still jumping up higher than I would like to see. And this lithium works for a day, but then it jumps back up. But this is what I pulled out on Sunday. I finally read something from Randy Farley about phosphate. I've been studying that article for quite a while, and there was a paragraph where he talked about you're having trouble with carbonate crystals growing on pipes or glass, which I never get carbonate crystals at all. And he said that process is reversible, but it's likely that the sand is a reservoir for phosphate.
That's very feasible.
And so I decided to suck all my sand out. And I don't know if you see that picture there, but that lid is white. And that was my sand.
Wow.
Wow.
Now in the tank, I've still got, I got 10 gallons of sand out so far. I probably got another 5 to 10 gallons to still get out of the tank. But in the tank, it doesn't look green. And that's what I find really odd.
Is it brown?
In the tank, it looks a little grayish brown. Yeah. Now that could be because blue light.
Right.
Yeah. But I was shocked when I poured that out and it was this green.
Yeah.
So,
That's the bright green.
So it being
Yeah.
that green, I mean, I'm kind of thinking right now that it maybe my sand was binding up all the phosphate, and maybe I have more phosphate in the system than I realized because
Do you
of
run a
down to
scrubber?
sand. No, I run a skimmer,
Nah.
but not a
So just-
scrubber.
So just
Scrubbers.
the,
Go ahead, Jill.
I'm sorry.
No, you're
Just
good.
the thought, what about cleaning your sand? Like, just so much of it for, a couple of days and then cleaning so much of it for, just in different sections till you get it all cleaned off. Using the
I've tried
suction.
that, and it's just a matter of days, and it's right back.
Neisseria snails and a sand sifter. Unless you've got
I can't keep my snail population live; they die.
really.
Really?
In 2 or 3 weeks, they'll die.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I mean, right now I've got a whole pile of them that are dead.
There's something in there that's not jiving
Yeah.
well with the.
Now, all that being said, if my levels were freakishly off, I would not be able to grow coralline, and coralline is growing like crazy on my rock.
Right.
So, yeah. So
A
anyway, I
scrubber?
mean, at this point, I've decided to put new sand in. It's going to take me a little time to get the rest out, but you know, what can it hurt when it looks this bad anyway?
Yeah.
I've tried everything else that I know to try.
Run an algae scrubber.
Now,
I've got-
I am running, I've got a Chato reactor,
Not the same.
not the same.
No,
How's it different?
no, the Cheeto, it's, of course, I'm not a microbiologist by any means, but the proprietary composition and of macroalgae, there's a difference between the Cheeto and the algae that are grown in those scrubbers,
Okay.
and the amount of phosphates and nitrates and other things that they'll absorb. The algae that will grow through a scrubber, the big, thick, green, mossy algae.
Uh-huh.
And a lot of this, if you read Paul B., like the Avant Garde, have you ever read that? Paul B's book?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, that type of algae right there is the same type that you're going to find in the ocean. You're going to find it anywhere. And it is by far the best algae to take out everything, and it outcompetes everything in your tank. It really does if you can get it growing. And
Okay.
Cheeto doesn't have anything on that. You get a
Really?
good scrubber running, and I can even get orange and yellow in there, my green. It pulls out so much stuff. And that scrubber, and it outcompetes anything in that tank. And like you did about 4 months ago, I had a great big giant outbreak of the green algae because my
Uh-huh.
scrubber wasn't getting enough flow through it. And I
Okay.
couldn't figure it out because I had all 8 lights on it. I have a Rain 4 scrubber,
Uh-huh.
and it's way oversized for my tank. But that scrubber, once I got it dialed in and got that flux in there and got rid of all of the green algae, I'm telling you, it hasn't come back at all. And that scrubber stays busy. It grows
Mhm.
all that stuff, and it keeps the phosphates lower. It keeps the nitrates lower than what I have,
Right.
because I've had them extremely high before. But
Huh.
the tank is much, much more stable since I've got that scrubber running high.
Mhm.
Huh.
And I don't have the algae now. I don't have it growing all over the place.
Huh.
Cheeto never worked.
I've had trouble keeping it alive.
The Cheeto,
Yeah, it dies.
Yeah.
I mean, I got some off of Earl and I ended up getting Aptasia. So
oh,
I love Earl to death, but I won't get Chato from Earl again.
there's a guy that I know on some of the Facebook forums. His name's Chris Ward,
Uh-huh.
and he lives in Tennessee. He built a DIY scrubber that's outstanding and used the Tunzi light.
Huh.
They've got those submersible Tunzies, and he just took like an acrylic box and bought, PVC tubing and used Ziploc and put a screen on it and hooked a pump up to it and put the Tunzi lights on either side of it. And it was an inexpensive way to make a super nice scrubber if you didn't want to go out and blow money on one of the, name brands.
Right.
And it's remarkable. And he doesn't have the algae problems anymore either. And he grows so much of it. It looks like it's a lot of algae, but there's none in the display.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
I was actually before, 3-4 weeks ago, Kirsten, when you sent out that message saying you were thinking about getting out, I was sitting there
Yeah.
thinking, well, shoot, she beat me to the punch. I was so close to throwing in the towel and just saying, I don't know what to do here. And
Yeah.
I do have to admit, I get lazy in the summer. I mean, my focus, the hobby becomes more the cycling, and I do minimal stuff on the tank, and I've got to get out of that mode and quit treating it like a yo-yo.
Do you do automatic water changes with your Apex?
I got a Genesis system that does the water change.
Oh, okay. All right.
So I do about a gallon a day. And,
Yep.
and yeah, it's, I know that's a weird number, but
I do a gallon and a half a
7
day.
gallons
so-
a week, I guess. But I mainly do it because I have my skimmer set up to automatically flush once a day.
Oh, wow.
And when it flushes, the smell in the house is pretty bad. So what I have it set up to where when it flushes, I immediately then do a water change and dump that water into the same drain so that it gets rid of the smell.
That's a good idea.
So that's why I do the gallon a day, maybe it's too much. I don't know, but
I do a gallon and a half a day on a 90.
okay.
I mean, mine's set up to do it. I mean, everything's my corals, my fish, everybody's much happier with it that way.
Okay.
Better
Gallon and a half on a 90. Okay. So I could probably go up to 2 gallons a day and probably be all right.
Yeah, gallon and a half does nothing but wonders for mine. Keeps it nice and clear and stable, and everybody's happy. And
Mhm.
I don't have pH problems. I don't have, of course, the salinity problem today. But most of that stuff stays pretty level. Alkalinity, mag, calcium, all stays up there.
Funny you mentioned pH because that's my second issue. So I bounce between 7.9 and 8.1.
8.1 is not horrible.
Yeah, I would like to get it back up, but I don't want to use any kind of conditioners to get it there.
Or CO2 or anything.
Yeah, so now one of the things I did do to help it, I was jumping between probably 7.8 and 7. It was fluctuating around maybe 7.75 and 7.9.
That's low.
Yeah, and so I added a fresh air line to my skimmer that's pulling from outside, and it pulled it up okay. But I would love to get it up to 8.3.
Are you in the basement?
No, I'm in the main floor of the house.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes the basement has a tendency to keep it down.
What are other natural ways that you can pull pH up?
I mean, I don't have the issue, and I don't know if it's just my house, but mine always stays around 8.2, 8.25, something like that, and it really doesn't fluctuate out of there.
Really?
So I don't know if I'm just fortunate. I don't. Yours is wide open, your sump and everything like that, so you get plenty of air.
Well, I mean, eventually it's going to be closed in, so it's probably going to make it worse.
I leave my fans on the house on all the time,
Mhm.
so they're not an automatic. So I'm always getting fresh air. Don't know if that has anything to do with it. Of course, kids running in and out of the house 100 times a day they help. But I don't know. Other than fresh air, I don't. I'm fortunate not to have to worry about pH.
I haven't measured mine in so long, I couldn't tell you what mine is.
Yeah, I look at my fusion about 45 times a day.
What are you going to see because of lower pH? What would be visible signs of? Because some people say 8.1 is fine, others don't. So short of being told yes or no, what would be signs that it's too low?
Coral growth.
Coral growth
would be the first one. Maybe, it's kind of like when the alkalinity swings or changes and you start to get like white on them and things like that. That sort of change. Your leathers and mushrooms and stuff like that don't like the lower pH. I mean, there's no major visible signs that I know of, but there, it's stuff like that. It's about the same thing as watching your alkalinity swing.
Okay.
Not an expert on the pH there, but.
Okay. Well, one thing at a time, I guess. I'm going to chase this phosphate stuff first, but pH is the next piece.
Hook up your scrubber. Trust me. You've got everything else. Put a scrubber on there.
You got room for a scrubber on there?
I mean, I've got a 90 and there's nothing I don't own. Nothing. Except for the FMK. That's about it.
Really?
Yeah.
I've been having trouble with my FMK. It's been dropping about once every 2 weeks, and forgetting that it's there. So,
Does
but
that have to do with your pump maybe?
no, the module just drops,
Oh, okay.
and that I've never had any issues with Apex at all from modules just disappearing, but it just disappears
Oh,
now.
it drops from your Fusion.
Oh yeah, completely.
Oh,
Now once I unplug it and it comes back online, and one of the times I unplugged it and it came back, it reassigned the address. So I then had
What?
to reprogram everything. Yeah, I went from address 12 to address 14.
have you contacted or made
I
a?
did. They don't want to admit anything on it, but they asked
not.
me to move it to the end of the chain. And I have done that, and it's not dropped since. But I can't get them to tell me why
Right.
that is the fix, and I want to know the why. I mean, I get it's out of warranty, so if it's bad, just tell me it's bad. I'm not going to take a risk over a $90 module or whatever the cost of that thing is.
Well, I'll ask around because I've never heard that.
I'd love to know why it's dropping.
I know that people's Trident seems to drop every now and then, and that one has a big problem. I understand, but mine doesn't. But I've not heard of like the FMK modules dropping. Talk
Interesting.
to Harry Singer or somebody like that,
Mhm.
or Farnsworth. Those guys know a lot.
Okay. Yeah, I've been searching some forums, but I can't find anybody talking about it. So
I'll get an answer. I'll ask somebody. I'm on there all the time and talk to everybody.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
good deal. Good deal. Yeah, just tell them that it drops about every 2 weeks, and now the funny thing is that it being in the middle of the chain, even though it would drop, everything after it would work. But when
Yeah,
I would pull the plug on it and reset it, it would come back online. But one of the probably 5 times I've had to do that, it readdressed itself from 12 to 14.
So there's still continuity, but it loses its.
Yeah.
That's some kind of wonky
Yeah.
issue in the module. That's nothing you're doing or anything. Yeah, that's just a bad module. It sounds like.
That's what I'm afraid of. Yeah. So, but I'm timing it now. So far, I've been running 2.5 weeks with no problems. So we'll see. Yeah.
Well, that'll work.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I don't mean to be rude or anything, but I gotta be up at 4:00 in the morning and gotta get ready for night time.
I
Yeah.
don't blame you.
My
I
wife's
gave that up in July.
Lucky you.
cool. Well, Tom, we're going to try this every other week and see
Okay.
how it goes. Just random topics. Maybe once we get the forum thread running a little bit more, we can kind of throw out some things. Hey, I would like to talk about X, and
Right.
that might help pull people or, that kind of thing. But I did, let's see, Farrell Andrews messaged me and said he couldn't reply to the threads. So I found a configuration mistake on the open thread that I fixed, and it's working now. So
Okay.
anybody trying to reply to people in there, it wouldn't work. So it's working now.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
only thing I couldn't get on was the YouTube video of the Saturday.
Yeah, apparently there's a limit to how long your videos can be on YouTube. So I've got to figure out how I could do that. I did record this one too. So I'm going to talk to Zoom and see if they'll allow us to host the recordings and me point people to those. That
Okay.
doesn't work. I don't know what we can do with them.
I don't either.
Yeah.
That's out of my realm of knowledge there. Without
Yeah.
paying somebody, I mean, you could pay these companies, but it's a lot of money.
We do have our old forum server still running, and that's good for 2 years still. So the hosting is anyway. So maybe there's some way I could throw videos on there and
Make
point
it
to
read
them.
only.
we'll see. But they're awful big to have people download them and then watch them. But I guess worst case scenario, we could, but they're about 700 meg to download, or 700
big.
gig to download. So there's a gig or meg.
A gig
Anyway.
is about a
Big
movie
gig.
size. It's about 90
Yeah.
minutes.
Okay, so yeah, they're pretty large, but I know I can't upload them from home because it takes too long. So I have to wait till I'm at work to upload them. But but we'll try to figure that out, because I think especially these, probably more than the club meeting, would really draw some people in. So
Would be nice to get more people.
yeah, it would. Tom, any ideas you have, throw them our way so we can try to get the
I don't
club
know anybody.
ramped up again. So
Yeah.
you don't know anybody, you said?
Nope. I'm the only guy left that has any. None of my friends, none of my associates. I mean, I've got a doctor buddy, but he doesn't ever have time. But yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know anybody.
Huh.
I'm a solo reefer.
Well, I'm in Midway. I'm not that far. So, and Durwood's in Georgetown.
Georgetown, yeah.
I'm in
Savannah, so,
Savannah.
yeah.
Okay.
And Earl is in Richmond. So we're spread out quite a bit, but
Yeah, Jill was Harrington Lake.
Oh wow.
yeah, we're pretty evenly spread.
Pretty evenly spread.
Mhm.
And if we
Yeah,
get rid of this ugly virus, we can all figure out a way to.
that's right.
I can host in my house or anything, anytime. So, not
Okay.
a big deal.
All righty.
Coco.
All right, folks.
Well,
y'all have a good
Good
evening. And
talking to you.
Good talking with you.
Kirsten, are you all staying on a bit or got to go?
You know, I'm pretty open. I'm just sitting here knitting. So
Yeah, I've got to, we haven't eaten dinner yet, so I'm going to get off here pretty quick.
Yeah.
So
so
I sit in here, I look at my aquarium though. I have at the last meeting, I noticed something in my aquarium. I have some kind of odd algae growing. It looks like a string of peas. They're really tiny little balls going up a string. And I tried to get a picture of it. If it grows anymore, I'll try and post a picture of it. But
are they green?
when I have the light turned on white, yeah, they are. They're green,
Huh.
and it's kind of cool looking. You know, I don't think it's hurting anything. I don't know where it came from. I haven't put anything in my tank forever, so I'll keep watching it and see what's going on with it.
Cool.
So, well, I keep going through. I'm absolutely amazed. I keep going through my list of what is in my tank, and it's like, my God, do I have lots of stuff in there? Because I figure I need to make a list so I have a clue what to ask.
Yeah.
So
Kirsten,
that people don't go, you're nuts. It's like, well, no, I know I'm not getting anything for it, but come on, let's face it.
I think that's a sign that you're not supposed to shut it down.
Yeah.
Just saying.
I figure if I shut it down now, my husband has 4 or 5 years to go. Oh my God, look at the new floor under it. Because it was when we put the tank in.
Oh,
Yeah.
ah.
How long has it been since you've not had a tank, Kirsten?
I started saltwater when Henry was in kindergarten. He's in his 4th year of college.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
He had just started the first day of kindergarten. So, I mean, it's been 12, 13. This is my
Yeah.
17th year.
I'd say you probably won't last very long without a tank.
And I had fresh water before that, but I have 2 29 talls in the basement. I think I'm going to keep one of them. Just if I really do miss it, you know, those are easy to set in a corner somewhere, and I'll do fresh water.
Yeah.
So, Kirsten, what is it that makes it difficult for you right now?
Honestly,
Mhm.
I have so much, and I mean, I'm nothing like you, Brian, but okay, so my power heads are automatic. My heaters are automatic controlled. I have an auto feeder. I don't really pay attention much to the tank except to go, oh, look, I need to top off the water, or, oh, yeah, I haven't done anything to feed them except pellets coming in from the auto feeder. So it's just gotten to where it is literally like a painting on the wall.
Yeah. I had a buddy that joined the club recently. Told me the other day. He said, "Do you think maybe you're too automated?" And yeah, I think there's some validity to that. It puts you in a mood where it's a painting on the wall and it's beautiful.
Yeah,
But it's easy to forget
yeah.
or put things
Yeah.
off.
Yeah.
And
And I mean, I am actually being relatively good. I do a water change every 7 to 10 days, which for me, that is amazingly regular. Usually I used to go 2, 3, 4 weeks without doing a water change,
okay.
and I'm doing a 12-gallon water change at a time instead of, 5.
Mhm.
So I have improved things in that respect, but it's just like, I went to Hilton Head for a week and honestly, I didn't miss it.
Hmm.
But that was
and
only a
he called
week.
me, He said, I have this issue with the auto top off pump, and we fixed that. But other than that, I didn't concern myself with the tank for 8 days and I didn't miss it. And that's a pretty good hint that I could live without it.
Yeah, but you were on I'm not trying to talk you into, you were on vacation though and had other things to do.
Yeah, we were yarn shopping.
When
Yeah,
I was on vacation, I didn't miss my tank at all, but I knew it was in good hands. And
And honestly, I enjoy my knitting. And when I look at the yarn I buy, it's like, okay, for the $300 I spent on salt for the year, that's like 8 skeins of yarn. It's not cheap yarn, and I really enjoy the yarn. So I'm like, I only get so much money a month to spend on my hobbies. And short of
No,
me going
I
back to
kind of
work
agree with
full-time,
what,
I can afford it, both of them.
I gotta agree with what your buddy said, Brian. Maybe you're over automated. I read the Nano Tank on Facebook quite a bit, and they're all talking about auto top offs and everything. And I'm like, it's a Nano Tank. I keep a gallon jug of auto top off. I drop in a quart every day or half a gallon every day.
mhm,
Yeah.
And that
I
gives
do
me a
have an
reason to
auto
come
top
because
off.
I don't feed every day.
mhm.
But I'm in here working on a computer and I watch it. And every day I'll put a quart of water in there to compensate for the evaporation. And then I'll start checking and I got to scrub the algae. So it keeps me committed to it a little bit more.
Yeah.
But I love watching, my pistol shrimp and my Watchman goby or, the clownfish and an anemone. I love all that stuff. Anyway, I could sit and just look at the aquarium for hours anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, and my deal is where I sit in the living room, the tank is behind me. So if I'm sitting in the living room, I don't see it the whole time I'm sitting in there working on stuff.
Yeah.
Because Henry is in the fish room basically. And he really doesn't sit in there much either. So it's like, it's not in a convenient location. It can't be put in a better location where I would see it more.
Mhm.
So I'm like, at most, I'll go back down to 29 and I'll do a freshwater. And I do know that not that this is that much work, but they're even less work. Because I will still have my RO system. It's not like I have to worry about dechlorinating the water and all that junk.
Yeah.
At that point, it's easy.
Hmm.
And I own 2 auto feeders, so guess what? I'm keeping one of them. I still won't have to feed them. And I mean, you're looking at a person who in 98, when we had the ice storm, we had the 29 up in Henry's. Well, we had a small 10-gallon in Henry's room and a 29 in the hallway upstairs. And it's like, if you reached in, there were thermoclines in the aquarium and the stuff was alive. It lived for 5 days without any heat upstairs. And we had blankets in our stairwell because we kept the downstairs warm enough, in the 50s, I think is what we got it up to, because we were camping downstairs, but we didn't go upstairs for like 4 or 5 days because we were out of power that long. And everything survived.
Hmm.
So I'm like, yeah, I might just go back down to a 29 freshwater and we'll see.
So are you saying we need to start a freshwater thread?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm like I say, I think in the next week I'm gonna figure out everything with my tank and then I'm gonna
That
do
wouldn't
a
work.
sale, but I'd like to sell it all in one piece. And Joe said he charged $600 to move it. It's like that can come out of the money I pay for it. I get for it, I don't mind, or I'll work with somebody. But my vet's wife even has a possible buyer for it. I'm
Oh.
like, if they'll buy all of it and then work with Joe, if they want to upgrade anything, hey, more power to them. I'll
Yeah.
sell them test kits and everything.
We would have to change her name to Big Blue Pond if you went fresh. So I don't know about that.
I'll keep mollies and guppies. I'll be on the the swamp side.
The brackish
Yeah.
side?
Yeah, on the brackish side.
Yeah.
I
Hey, Brian.
honestly, before I decided this, I was contemplating getting some mollies and seeing if I could convert them to salt water just to put them in there. Because I figured, why not? They're not that expensive to do that with. Susan has some guppies, but with the engineer guppies I have, when the guppies are only half an inch long, they're an insta meal.
Yeah, really.
So, but yeah, I mean, I was even amazed. I have like 17 fish in there. Now, mind you, one of them I see in the evenings when the lights start going dark because he is that shy. He's my red stoplight cardinal. He has survived hiding in the rocks all these days. I think the rest of them, the comet ate really well before I gave them to Mark. And I don't know. I have an engineer goby who has a permanent pot belly. I think it's a she, and she's just permanently pregnant. But amazingly enough, after 2 years, I still have 4 of the leucomas. I've only lost one of them, which is pretty impressive. So, and guess what I have in my tank again? After
What?
buying a dozen Bergia, okay? Mind you, a dozen of the damn things. I got rid of all the Aptasia, and I've had 3 so far. I have one on the back of a rock again, and it's like, I don't know that I can get that rock out of there. And it's like, I'm tired of fighting Aptasia, nothing against it. It gets old.
Yeah.
So,
So
yeah.
didn't you say you got something to get rid of that though?
Yeah, I got the Bergia nudibranchs, and they got rid of everything. All the Aptasia in there, I thought. No.
But you don't have them. You don't have them left anymore.
Not as far as I know. That was a while ago.
Okay.
Yeah. So there was somebody.
Yeah. Once they eat it all, they die. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's all about balance. You have to have fewer of the slugs so that you can have a few Aptasia to feed them all the time.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure if I mean, I have the Astrina starfish, and every month and a half or so, I'll siphon like 3-4 dozen of them out.
Yeah.
I'm sure if I were to put a harlequin in there, I would find out how many hundreds of them I have as they try to find a tunnel in my rock to escape. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, so if anybody wants an Astrina, let me know. I'll give you one. It'll repopulate, no problem.
Before your tank goes, I'll probably take one. Hey, Brian,
Okay,
I got a
okay.
question for you. Do we have a new login on the PayPal?
Hold on just a second.
Okay.